You know, the three most important days in a woman's life must be when she marries, when perhaps she has her first child. But before that, there comes that moment when the man she loves goes down on his knee in front of her and proposes marriage to her. Yes, it's a very important day in a woman's life, and that begins the whole process of preparing for the marriage. But first, we have to secure the diamond for the engagement ring. If you're watching this and you're an expert in diamonds, you probably won't learn a lot from this show. But if you're like most of us and you're not an expert in diamonds, do stay tuned, because you're going to learn a great deal about the process of buying a diamond, so that you know the diamond you get will be one of great quality and one that will indeed be a lifelong heirloom. Up to this point, probably no one ever explained a diamond better to the Jacksonville market than this gentleman. Watch this.
Hi, everybody. When diamonds were first discovered in India about 600 BC, it was the hardest substance that had ever been found up to that time. And the gem cutters of that day found it was impossible to polish this material with any of the abrasives or polishes and powders which they had on hand. They finally solved the problem by reducing some of the small diamonds to powder. And with this powder, they then had an abrasive with which they could polish the gems. Now, the first diamonds that were cut looked something like this. This is the natural shape of a diamond crystal. So about all they did was polish these faces or edges and give the diamond some sparkle. 1,000 years later, they had begun to develop shapes which were left more or less to the discretion of the cutter. And by 1500 AD, they began to put facets on the stone and give it something of a shape akin to our modern diamond. And then by 1750, you see the resemblance to our modern stone. By 1875, 1880, they had developed what we call the old mine or cushion-cut diamond. And then by 1900, they had a stone which looks very much like our modern diamond, with this important exception. This had to be cut from a single crystal like this, because all they could do was cleave the top of that crystal off. They didn't know how to saw a diamond and give it the shape they wanted. But in 1900, they did develop machines. And with these machines, they were able to do a precision job of cutting diamonds. Now, this is the rough crystal, as I showed you in another picture. And they took that crystal and sawed it off right here. The next job was to brute the diamond or put it in a lathe and rough it into a circular or round shape. And then they began to put the facets on it, as you see here. 33 facets on the top, 25 facets on the bottom, making a total of 58 facets. And the finished modern cut gem looks very much like this. Now, please bear in mind that the cutting skill of the cutters will vary from one to another, just as cabinet makers and carpenters have various skills. So the practice in the industry is, when they have poor material, they give it to the less competent cutters. But when they have a fine piece of diamond material, they give it to their finest cutters. That's why an Underwood diamond is made of the finest materials and cut by the finest cutters in the business. And you will always find that an Underwood diamond will have that extra sparkle and brilliance, which comes from the fact that not only is the material fine, but the man who cut it was a real craftsman.
It is now a pleasure to introduce to you the gentleman who is the successor to the late Mr. H.F. Underwood, whom we just saw here just a few moments ago, and that is the current president of Underwood's Jewelers, Mr. Clayton Bromberg. Clayton,
Arthur,
always great to be with you. And of course, we talk about Underwood's Jewelers on the radio all the time, and we started off by talking about the lady who was had been proposed to. We're selecting the right diamond. Where does one begin in knowing you're going to the right place to find the right diamond?
the best way to answer that question is, if you don't know diamonds, you need to go out and find a jeweler that you can trust. One of our greatest accomplishments in the jewelry business is Underwood's is the longest standing member in the state of Florida of the American Gem Society. We've had an association and membership in the American Gem Society for over 60 years. The American Gem Society is the association in the jewelry business that will throw members out for unethical practices. They also happen to be the association in the jewelry business that registers jewelers, that certifies gemologists, that accredits gem laboratories within the stores that they operate in. And that's an association we're most proud of. Another one of the things we're most proud of is Underwoods has the largest credentialed jewelry staff of the American Gem Society in the United States east of the Mississippi River.
That's an amazing accomplishment, given the entire eastern seaboard of the United
Well,
States.
considering we're only 3 stores, and there are members that have a lot more stores, yet we have more credentialed professionals than those stores that have many more units than we do.
Clayton, there are thousands upon thousands of jewelry stores all over the United States. What percentage of those belong to the American Gem Society?
5%.
So 95% of the jewelry stores out there are not members of this organization.
That's correct.
Now, does that mean that if I'm buying a diamond, I'm taking a risk?
I don't know that I'd go that far, Arthur, but what we're really talking about is if you don't know diamonds, you need to know your jeweler.
So what do we have here, Clayton? I mean, what exactly is this on the table here?
That's an unsorted parcel box of round brilliant diamonds that have been sent in from a cutting factory in South Africa for us to go through and pick which ones we want to have to carry the Underwood name.
Which is valued at what? How much do you think this group is valued
That
at?
group is worth roughly $100,000.
Clearly, Clayton, then, to the untrained eye like mine, these all look beautiful. But to the gemologist, obviously, it's a whole different story.
That's correct. What a gemologist can do when they're looking at diamonds is they have the ability to sort out what all of the factors in grading are, where they can look at those individually. We do that in an accredited gem laboratory, which Underwoods has.
We're going to take a short break and stay with us because we're going to go visit that laboratory in just a moment.
This FYI program is brought to you by Underwoods, with 3 locations to serve you, celebrating 80 years of brilliance.
Thanks for staying with us. It's now time to take that visit to the lab at Underwoods Jewelers. Watch this. Well, here we are in this grading room, Clayton. This is the place, is it, where all of the grading of the diamonds is done here at Underwoods?
Correct.
I see you have in front of you the $100,000 diamond box. What the value approximately of those diamonds we can see right now?
Correct. These were pre-selected from one of our diamond cutters. This group happened to have been cut in South Africa. They've been sent to us for us to make our final selections out of here in our laboratory, and we established doing that when we visited that cutter that owned these diamonds.
So with this equipment you obviously have here on your table and in this room, you have equipment that is specified as required by the American Gem Society.
That's correct. A gemologist is only as good as the equipment that they work with. The American Gem Society has these accredited gem laboratories set up with all of the essential equipment it takes a gemologist to make all the right calls on gemstones and diamonds.
So let's open the box here, Clayton,
Okay.
and show us a little bit, if you will, how you utilize this equipment to do the pre-grading here at Underwood.
And I'm going to do a pre-grade in a fairly rapid manner of the color of the diamonds, the clarity of the diamonds, and I'll also do a pre-grade using the handheld angular spectral evaluation tool, which will let me know what the diamond is doing as far as showing brightness and contrast. We'll start by looking at this diamond. This diamond is probably either an ideal or an excellent cut, and it's a J color. That's one I'll take to the next step. Diamonds fall into different ranges. You have a colorless range, you have a near colorless range, and then you have a tinted yellow range. A J color, or an American Gem Society 3 color, falls at the tail end of the near colorless range, meaning when you're looking at that diamond face up, where it's able to perform it optimally with light, you cannot detect any color in that diamond. Probably out of every 100 diamonds we look at, only 5 of them are good enough to carry the Underwood name.
I'm not a diamond expert, but I have heard of something they call the 4 C's when it comes to diamonds. What part of that were you dealing with when we were visiting in the lab?
I was dealing with two of those being the color and the clarity, and I was doing a pre-grade on the quality of the cut.
So 50 years ago, Mr. Underwood, he would have had a microscope, would he not?
He had a microscope. He had one of the first microscopes in the state of Florida.
And with that microscope, he also had the grading, the standard diamonds that set the color.
Correct.
But much more than that, he didn't have technologically in those days.
No, as technology has gotten better and better, the diamond cutters have been able to get closer and closer to cutting that true ideal cut diamond. What we do at Underwoods is we try to buy the most beautiful diamonds, and then we ask what the price is later. Most people say, how much does the diamond weigh, and how much does it cost? And that's all they want to know. As I've said, it's like introducing your wife and saying, I'd like to introduce my wife. Her name is Christy. She weighs 135 pounds.
Yes, that would go down well, wouldn't it?
It would.
But so it's a more complex process. Now, who are the people in the country who actually do the cutting? Are there more people doing this work now than there were maybe in Mr. Underwood's day?
Well, to take it back to Mr. Underwood's day, 50 or 60 years ago, there were really three cutters that cut to the ideal standard as best they could. Those three cutters were Kaplan, Kiger, and Kepi. Those three cutters were all United States based. Kepi cut theirs in South Africa. But in today's world, because the American Gem Society Diamond Grading Laboratory opened and started cut grading diamonds on a scale from 0 to 10, with 0 being the AGS ideal, cutters were able to be rewarded by cutting to the excellent AGS ideal standard. They could get more money and would be rewarded for that. Before, it was all left to chance. You had to use your eyes, and you couldn't possibly be as accurate with your calls as we can be today.
That's most fascinating. So nowadays the demand is more exacting on the cutter, but the rewards are potentially greater.
That's correct.
We're with Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwood's Jewelers, and we're discussing, of course, diamonds and how you buy the diamond. Most of us not knowledgeable, but hopefully by the end of this show you will be. By the way, if you did just join us and you have missed part of the show, you can always log on to the website you see on your screen and watch this show in its entirety at your convenience. Now, pressing on, we were talking about the 4 C's. We did 2 of them. Let's talk about the next 2. What are they, Clayton?
The other 2 C's would be the carat weight of the diamond, and the last would be the cut of the diamond. And when I say cut, I'm not talking about the shape. I'm talking about the quality of the cut of that diamond and its ability to handle light and bring it back to the viewer.
What does a carat mean? How do we come up with a carat?
A carat is a measure of weight for gemstones. When people talk about 25 points or 50 points, there are 100 points in a carat.
And from carat to the cut, you're talking about the cut of the diamonds in the 4th C. Tell us a little bit about that and how that works.
Well, when you're talking about the quality of the cut, you're talking about the finished, polished diamond like we're looking at in front of you here.
This beautiful gift set you bought me.
Correct. And the cut of each of those has to be evaluated. There's a standard that we have at Underwoods that we will not take diamonds below a certain cut grade and offer them for resale.
Well, actually, Clayton, we have Michael Richards, who is Vice President and the Certified Gemologist at Underwood, standing by in your lab right now. Can you hear me, Michael?
Yes.
Good,
yes.
good. Now, we can see in the picture where you're standing there, the device right beside you that has the LED display. Tell us what that is.
And this is a diamond scale. And we actually put the diamond right on the scale just like you would a bathroom scale at your home, and it tells us what the carat weight of the diamond is. Clayton gave me several diamonds, and to take further in the grading process, this particular diamond we're looking at right now is a .72, or just under a 3/4 carat diamond.
So when you've got that carat weight, what is the next step?
Then we take the diamond to our most technologically advanced piece of gemology equipment, and that is the non-contact optical scanner. This scanner allows us to take a series of photographs. It's actually about 400 photographs in a couple of seconds' time. With those photographs, the computer can create a 3-dimensional image, a theoretical image inside the programming that we then can use the American Gem Society performance grading software to create light that goes through that three-dimensional model, and it will tell us how that diamond will perform, how beautiful the diamond will be in reality. I've already cleaned the diamond. I've put it in the device. I'm going to start the program. This is the silhouette of that actual diamond, and as it rotates on the optical table, there is a camera inside the machine that is taking those photographs. We've now created the theoretical diamond inside the programming. It's still doing a little bit of the calculation to tell us how it's going to perform in brightness, fire or dispersion, and in scintillation.
This is obviously very sophisticated equipment, Michael. Estimate what percentage of jewelry stores actually have this level of technology?
I don't know the actual number, but I would certainly say it is well less than 1% in the United States.
And Underwoods has it right here in Jacksonville.
We do. It's part of our accredited gem lab with the American Gem Society. Now that we have the diamond rebuilt inside the computer, there's many things we can do. We can look at the diamond and how light is actually interacting when it enters the diamond. I'm actually moving a theoretical light beam across the surface of that actual diamond that we just scanned. And you can see when the light hits this point, 17% of the light refracts back off of the top. The remaining light follows this blue line throughout the diamond, being internally refracted and reflecting back out the top, 68%, and there's a small light leakage out the bottom. This diamond is actually performing at a very high level. We can also look at this diamond, let's see, in the actual 3D model that the computer generated. If we want to look at any actual measurements that were taken on that diamond, or most importantly, and the real reason we have this device, is it allows us a segue into using the American Gem Society performance grading software. Here we have the actual asset image that is very similar to the image that Clayton looked at when he was using the small handheld asset machine. The red is showing us actual brightness or reflection of light off of the top of the diamond. The blue pattern you see is the contrast, which allows us to see those areas of brightness. The green that you see is a little lower level of light performance, where the diamond is actually still reflecting the light, but it's not as bright as in the red areas. And then the tiny little areas of white that you see is areas where light is actually escaping in this diamond.
So you can have real confidence in the diamond you purchase at Underwoods, knowing that it has been through this exhaustive process.
Absolutely. We will not sell a diamond until we have determined that it meets our minimum standards. Just as when Clayton did the preliminary grading, he disqualified a very large percentage of those diamonds. Even after that preliminary grading, we still disqualify up to 50% of the diamonds once they get through this stage.
Now, is this something that is done on all diamonds or just very large stones?
We do this on all diamonds we sell, starting at 1/4 of a carat and going up.
Thank you, Michael. Most interesting look at some of the latest technology, the 4 C's in diamonds.
There's a 5th C.
There is.
There's a 5th C, and it's probably the one a layman has the best ability to judge. That 5th C is confidence. It's the confidence that they're able to place in the person that they're purchasing their diamond from. It's the confidence that gives them the peace of mind that they have to feel good about the purchase that they've just made.
And that confidence is something that can last for years and years to come as you enjoy that beautiful diamond, knowing you've bought the right diamond from the right place. Well, we now have some understanding of the 4 C's, or the 5 C's, as Clayton just told us about a diamond. But how do we as the consumer know? How do we have this memorialized and certified in terms of the quality of our diamond? The answer coming up.
This FYI program is brought to you by Underwoods, with 3 locations to serve you, celebrating 80 years of brilliance.
We're with Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods Jewelers. Before we took the short break, we were talking about the 4, actually now 5 C's of diamonds. And Now we want to talk about the documentation, the memorialization of all the grading work that's been done at the American Gem Society labs. That's where these documents come in. What do we have in front of us here, Clayton?
Well, this is a diamond quality document. This is a diamond grading report issued by the American Gem Society Diamond Grading Lab on the carat weight, the cut grade of the diamond, the color, and the clarity of the diamond. However, I think it's important that you maybe read this important notice on this report.
We were looking at this during the break, and actually what it says is all three quality factors of cut, color, and clarity can dramatically affect the beauty and value of a diamond. Because of cutting, diamonds with the same color and clarity grades can vary in value by as much as 50% or more. Therefore, it is advisable to consult a certified gemologist or other credentialed gemologist before purchasing this diamond. And then, Clayton, there's this little extra sentence down here. This document is not a warranty, guarantee, or appraisal of value. So no warranty implied by this document.
No, and I think it's important to point out that when people talk about diamond certificates, they're always talking about a diamond grading report on that diamond. They are not really certificates. They're nothing more than a laboratory grading report. There are numbers of diamond grading laboratories that do this. Some are more credible than others.
Now, earlier you said that, if I remember correctly, that 5% of jewelers in the country were American Gem Society members, and of them, 5%, only 5%, had the labs like Underwoods has here in North Florida. That's 0.25. So does that mean that these documents that I might get at the other 99.75% of jewelers are not necessarily worth that much?
They could be. They might not be. Who knows? This laboratory report is available to anybody in the jewelry trade. What's not available is this report right here.
Now this then is something I would want if I am buying a diamond.
This is a true certificate. This is a guarantee of the quality of the diamond that's guaranteed by the seller of the diamond, the American Gem Society, and the American Gem Society Diamond Grading Laboratory. So you've got three assurances, and it has more than this report does. It has your light performance map here that shows what's happening with the diamond. Every one of these has to be laser inscribed. You can see this one has the Underwoods logo on it, and it has the serial number of the report, which matches the same report over here. And then there's a picture of that laser inscription that's on the girdle right here on this report.
This is the document you want to have from Underwoods when you have purchased the diamond.
That's right. And you can only get one of these if the store is a member of the American Gem Society.
Underwoods was founded by H.F. Underwood in 1928, and if you were with us earlier in the show, you saw we had some vintage footage of Mr. Underwood doing almost an educational program on television. And you found some more of this vintage video, haven't you?
We did.
And what is Mr. Underwood talking about here?
He's talking about why someone might pay more to get a fine quality piece of jewelry.
Watch this.
Fine jewelry such as you see here costs a little more than the cheaper costume jewelry. But these pieces that you see on your screen will be prized possessions of someone 100 years from now. In other words, if you decided to buy one of these items, you could use it for the rest of your life and then pass it on to someone you loved when you were through with it, and they could wear it all their life and pass it on to someone they love.
Well, following on there from Mr. Underwood's comments, we have Michael Richards back at Underwood's with some examples of what will undoubtedly become future heirlooms. Michael?
We've talked today about the science of gemology in depth, but there's another equally important component to a fine piece of jewelry that we sell here at Underwood's. I have some wonderful examples to show you. Once we select that diamond that you've been hearing about today, then we have to mount that diamond. This is an example of a handmade platinum mounting with matching diamonds that accent the center diamond. It would be very easy for us if all we did was pick up a catalog and order a mounting and have our jeweler put that diamond in a mounting. But we take that extra step when we manufacture jewelry just like we do when we pick a diamond. We have many diamonds sent in that we lay out next to that loose center diamond to see which side diamonds will best accent the center diamond. After we select the center diamond, we then call diamond cutters, and we have as many as 75 or 100 different pairs of side diamonds sent in. It can sometimes take that many to find the perfect match to accent the beauty of the center diamond. We will then take the diamonds and send them to a manufacturer that will hand make a ring, just like you see here today. This ring is not mass produced. It's not ordered out of a catalog and a jeweler is sitting somewhere in an office trying to make the diamonds fit into it. It's a ring that is made for the exact size of these diamonds to best show off their beauty. It's not just diamond engagement rings that we take this extreme care with. We also use the exact same process when it comes to diamond stud earrings. This is an example of a beautiful pair of 6-carat total weight diamond stud earrings that have micro Melie set diamonds around it to make them even more beautiful, even more sparkly when you wear them. This third example is truly a remarkable piece of jewelry. It's a 7-carat emerald cut diamond that has trapezoid sides, handmade and in platinum. As with all three pieces of this jewelry, we have a selection of rings and earrings just like this in all of our locations, starting at about 3/4 of a carat and going up to about 7 carats. And keep in mind that all of the diamonds at Underwoods, whether it's a 1/4 of a carat or a 7 carat, have undergone the same scrutiny and the same care and selection that these large diamonds have. And although these are costly examples because they are very large diamonds and very rare diamonds, we have diamonds and mountings and pieces of jewelry in all of our locations for any budget. They're all equally beautiful, and the same care has gone into the selection of each piece.
Well, Clayton, we're about at the end of our time together here, and do you have any final thoughts you'd like to leave us with about diamonds and Underwoods?
I have these thoughts. We turned 80 years old this year, and in the tradition of our founder, Mr. H.F. Underwood, who spent a lifetime not just being in the jewelry business, but educating the people in North Florida about jewelry and giving them the wisdom to make the right purchase decisions. Under my watch, we've carried on with that tradition. To us, still the most important thing are our honesty and our integrity. If you come to Underwoods, that's what you're going to get, and you're going to get the service that the people in North Florida have learned to expect.
If you aren't buying your diamond from Underwoods, there's a 99.75% chance that you may be making a mistake. Thank you for watching. See you next time. I'm Arthur Crofton.